We have an antibiotics problem. Hey, this is Dr. Randall here with another one of my Friday videos, and I just want to share some broad strokes about our antibiotics problem and then some kind of scary details, and end with some, hopefully some positive information and some tips for avoiding it. But we are overwhelmed by antibiotics in our society. So here are the broad strokes. Number one, we are way overprescribed antibiotics for things that are not bacterial infections. That's the only time really that antibiotics should be prescribed. Number two, partly because of COVID, we are way overusing hand sanitizers and antibacterial soaps, both of which kill bacteria, including beneficial bacteria. And all we really need to do is wash our hands and rub them together under water. And you can use a little soap if you like, but that's all that's needed. Number three, if you are eating the standard conventional diet of prepackaged foods, meats, chicken, fish, all these things, you are consuming antibiotics in your food. Doesn't matter whether it's veggies or meats. It's in there. And then the fourth area, sadly, if you live near one of these big animal feedlots, there was just a big thing in the news about a chicken producer just dumping tons of wastewater into the groundwater system. And so all these antibiotics are being seeped into the groundwater. And so you might be drinking antibiotics. So now the scary details. In the last year reported, there were 211 million prescriptions for antibiotics in 1 year. Of those, the CDC says that 70 million, about a third of all prescribed antibiotics, were unnecessary and shouldn't have been prescribed. Here's another scary fact. 20 million pounds of antibiotics were used for livestock. You might think, why? Why so much? Well, a couple reasons. One, feedlots are breeding grounds for sickness. Number two, antibiotics they've found fatten up the cows. And so more fat, the more weight, the more money they get. And so these livestock are fed antibiotics as part of their feed, part of everything. Okay, here's another crazy fact. Farms in this country used 280 million pounds of glyphosate, also known as Roundup, on their crops in the last reporting year. 280 million pounds. And you might say, well, wait, glyphosate, isn't that an herbicide or something like that? Yes, it is. But researchers have found that it has properties that mimic antibiotics. And so these glyphosate is used on conventional vegetables as well as the monoculture crops of soybeans, corn, sugar, wheat. And so we get our antibiotics that way as well. All right, so there's a lot of antibiotics around us. What's the problem? Two problems. Number one, I think the most serious problem is that all antibiotics kill bacteria. What's in our gut? What's our gut microbiome made of? Mostly bacteria, also viruses, also yeast, and a few other things. And antibiotics don't know the difference between beneficial and bad bacteria. So every time you take an antibiotic, whether prescription, in your food, however it's coming to you, you are killing some of the good, beneficial bacteria in your gut. Here's another weird aside. Almost all medications especially antibiotics, but also painkillers, SSRIs, and many other drugs, including even things like Advil, hurt the retention of nutrients in our food. So as we're taking these drugs, we're losing the nutrient value of our food. So we're killing our good beneficial bacteria and we're limiting nutrients. And so we're hurting our gut, we're hurting our immune system, we're opening the door to other chronic things happening because of that. We need to take better care of our guts. The other factor from all this antibiotic overuse is we have a growing number of cases of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. In fact, at the last reporting, there were 2.8 million people that experienced it, with about 35,000 deaths. So this is a serious thing. So please start thinking about how you can limit your antibiotic exposure, and do it for yourself, do it for your gut, do it for better health. All right, this is Dr. Randall wishing you a great day and a great weekend ahead.